Do you have a team right now around you,
No, it's
or
just a
just a?
one man business.
Yeah, man. DJ Dele, Bamidele, you're welcome to the
Of
Niger Conversation.
yes sir, yes sir.
It's good to have you on. Thank you for making out time to be here today.
Of course.
I've been I've been watching you, following you online. Following
Yeah.
the journey, and it's been great to see you. To be honest, because I know DJing is definitely not easy. We all think
Yeah.
we can all DJ at some point. When you go to like a house party and then you turn on your Spotify and then you play your favorite playlist, right? And then you just start playing your favorite songs. But I'm sure, I'm sure everybody watching or listening would think, oh yeah, I can definitely do that. But I know definitely it's not an easy task to have control and command of a crowd of people that you don't know. And then you have to you don't know them, different demographics, different tastes in music, and then you have to try to satisfy everyone. So I'm definitely rooting for you, man, and I'm watching you, and it's good to see. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and being on the Niger Conversation. Just here to get to know you, get a glimpse into your world, get some understanding about who you are as an individual, as a Nigerian, as a DJ. And in case people don't know, you're also a tech guy too. So yeah, if you just don't mind, just give us a little intro about who you are, what you do, and what makes you DJ Dele, Bamidele.
Yeah, so Bamidele, that's what my friends call me. Some people just call me Bam. Actually, I grew up here in the US, even here in Dallas, but I'm a real Niger guy, so everything Niger, I'm in love with. But
Nice.
In terms of DJing, I got into it while I was still in college. Started off small, yeah. So it was really hard starting because it was like, how do I do this? And me, I'm an introvert person. Like, I'm not really a crowd reader, crowd talker, or anything. But the more I got into DJing and moved to Dallas after graduating, that's when I started being more comfortable with being in front of crowds and just being able to talk to people through music and whatnot. And yeah, the experience has been crazy. Like, I didn't even expect like to grow this much in this city, because now I DJ at some of the popular clubs, and it's been a journey.
Yeah, so I know. I saw one of your recent posts. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like it almost looked like it was a festival or something, but it was a big spot. That was good.
Yeah. And I would say the main thing is just connections, man, because without some of the DJs that I talked to, I probably wouldn't be able to get a lot of the events that I'm getting today. So like a lot of the DJs have just been putting me on, giving me exposure. I've been meeting people, meeting new people, making connections. It's just been crazy. Like, it's just been crazy, bro.
Yeah. I have that as part of the things I was going to get into with you is how do you interact with, the DJs that you're meeting on the scene, and is there any sort of friction, or are they trying to boss you around or trying to be like, yo, you're in my turf, and we can get into all that later. Cause I was curious because, it's the music industry. It's a very competitive industry. There's a lot of opportunities, but, it is what it is when it comes to competition for sports. I was curious about that too.
Yeah.
So you said you started DJing in school.
Yeah.
Really? So what got you interested in that? Because how did you, was this something you just, you always wanted because you appreciated music, or you just discovered it?
I've always appreciated music, but I'd say in terms of DJing, I was just looking at the DJ at one party and I was like, I want to see this perspective of the party, see how this guy's viewing the party. So I just went up to him, had a conversation. And after that conversation, it just had me interested in becoming a DJ. So like that, within weeks, I bought equipment. It was beginner equipment, nothing that I have right now.
For sure.
Yeah. But with that, like I was just able to practice, and I actually hosted my first college party, and that was a success. And from there, I just kept on going and going, throwing more parties, DJing for other people, and I brought that momentum with me to Dallas after I graduated. So
Damn.
it's just been good overall.
But that first move though, because to just go, I mean, I kind of experienced the same thing with the whole podcasting, right? Because
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to people, I enjoy having conversation, I enjoy learning about people, but then specifically, when I turned it down to, okay, let me find a niche or, a topic where I can fully focus and I can, that I'm really interested in. And I'm Nigerian. I'm really interested in the Niger community, home and abroad. And I was very interested in that. And, one of the first things I did was just went on Amazon. I think it was one of the Black Friday. I just bought a bundle, a 2 people podcast bundle set.
Wow.
And I just invited, one of my closest friends. We just recorded, piled around and that was it. But it takes another level of interest or passion for it to go from something that you just tried and to then like, okay, I can actually do this, and then you just keep doing it. But that's so I wonder how was that for you? Like what was the drive that kept you going with it?
From my point of view, I've always liked music. Like since I was a young person, I would say like Afrobeats has been my biggest thing. And I would say it started from back when the bands and Mohits were still hot. Like that's when I really got into Afrobeats. And now Wizkid, Burna Boy, Davido, they all came in. My love for Afrobeats, it just kept on growing. So that's where the love for music came in. And then also like a few years ago, like, when all the NSARS events were happening in Nigeria, that's when I got into listening to Fela Kuti.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that made me like appreciate the genre way more because like if you really look into it, he talks about, the struggles in Nigeria as well as mixing it with, good melodies, good sound. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the music from Nigeria, the music from Africa, it's more than just music. Like there's a lot of storytelling behind it. There's a lot of culture behind it.
Absolutely.
And it's very rich in culture. Like, honestly, I don't think anything can top that, in my personal opinion.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think anybody can argue about, everybody has their favorite legends. And, when people argue about the greatest artist of all times, like, we know it's subjective, but there's just some truth to the power and the movement that music can influence in people. Because funny enough that you mentioned NSARS, because that was one of the things that motivated me to want to get messaging out there.
Yeah.
Because after that event, I was like, how can we connect with Nigerians all over the world to where, we can tell our stories, we can hear ourselves, we can reach out to one another. Because another thing is this, like, I'm hoping somebody will watch this and be like, oh, let me hit up DJ Dele and see if I can bring him over to wherever I'm at, So I'm like, how can we connect? So it's interesting that was one of your motivators too, the answers. And back to the messaging of Nigerian music is, apart from the, singing about women, money, all that has to happen because those are one of the, sex, money, as is one of the biggest movers in human history, period. So those have to be there, but the messaging, I would agree, definitely has a lot of push. Like Burna is one of the recent ones that has been, in midst of all his songs and all his prideful songs and all these egotistical songs, he would push one that's talking about hardship and, striving for what you want and all that. And you're like, whoa, that just hit you from nowhere. And it gives you a fresh appreciation for the music. And also with Amapiano, with blowing around the world. A lot of people, there's this Afrobeat movement now that
it is,
which I'm glad that you're picking it up because I'm sure there's going to be a generation of people that make music, that are DJing, that are in the music industry or creative industry in this generation that will push Afrobeats to lengths and heights that it has never gotten to before. We can see that where, you know, I was just watching clips of Mashake's concert and that was ridiculous. You know?
Sold out in
yeah, so I was like, that's amazing. That's something that is now, before you do that, you know, it's one in the bloom, but it's like, oh yeah, that's big. Is that big? So that's I'm really happy to be Nigerian. Really appreciate what, you know, everyone that is involved in Afrobeats and how they are pushing it out. So it is really something.
And it's very funny there because maybe 10 years ago, like Afrobeats wasn't even like as popular as it is now.
No.
Where every DJ is playing it. You'll hear it in stores regularly, like anywhere you'll hear Afrobeats. But 10 years ago, man, like people would be like, "What nonsense is this?" But
if you're not in Nigeria or just happen to listen to Afrobeats, you know, you didn't know Afrobeats. And you know, you mentioned the likes of the Banj, Two-Face, Idibia. You know, they pioneered and pushed. They began the push, but then the Olamides and the Davidos and, you know, the new guys, well, not the new guys, but that generation, that set, I can, you know, I've called them like a class of that period. They really had a massive impact on how modern and how, you know, Afrobeat is now to the people. And then, fortunately enough, newer artists that have been coming up, like Rema. Look at Rema. Like Rema was in India. It's like you know, it's like, who would have thought, you know? So seeing them also sort of is I see like as a relay race, you know, where old artists pass on the baton to the new ones and they keep going with even greater momentum, and it's great to see. And I see that in different industries too. Like you use in your industry specifically where you're a DJ, where it's like now it's almost required that you have to bop Afrobeat. You know, it's like it's almost a requirement that, whoa, where's the Afrobeat, man? You gotta play the Afrobeat, you know. So and that's, people are doing it now, and it's beautiful to see. Even when I went to UW Platteville, they were playing Afrobeats in the bars there, and it was like 90% white people. The day I said, I was like, I was shocked.
And it's good to see, like, they're actually vibing to it. They're enjoying it.
Yeah, that's great to see, though. That's great to see.
Yeah.
And then, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Here in this Dallas, like, I would say many years ago, there's probably only, like, a few DJs, a handful of DJs that were, like, Afrobeats DJs. But now, like, the number is just growing each month. Like, I would say, like, every week I have people reaching out to me. I want to learn how to be a DJ. I want to learn how to do. Yeah. And the thing is, like, the population of Nigerians, Africans in Texas, in the US is growing. So there'll always be that demand for DJs. And like the DJs here, like they're getting booked every weekend. So
that's good. It's been a great push.
Yeah.
So that going back to how you started, you know, in school, because you did industrial engineering. It's so funny that most of the people I've spoken to so far are either in medical fields or engineering fields. It's like it's going with that Nigerian stereotype that you're either the doctor, engineer, or lawyer. So so you were doing your industrial engineering. How were you able to shuffle that with your music? Like, at what point in your, you know, school career did you then have the I guess, opportunity to add music or DJ into that? How were you able to navigate all that? Yeah.
In my own opinion, I feel like everyone has time in college. It's just how you delegate that time, how you manage your time. Like, if you know you have something to do at a certain time, then you have to do it at that certain time, and the rest of your time will be free. Like, the problem people had in college is just procrastinating, forgetting about stuff, like just leaving stuff for the last minute. But
you're calling out too many people.
But yeah, now it's important to, you know, keep track of time and everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because with DJing, we have to download music consistently, and that takes time, especially if you're downloading different genres. And I would
Okay.
say in college, like I wasn't just doing Afrobeats. Like I had to do hip hop because there were other crowds. It wasn't just Africans in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Huh. I mean, I, I'm surprised by that response, and at the same time, I'm not because on one hand, you know, I did engineering too, and I know how difficult
yeah,
it is and I get it. You can prioritize, but the typical college student today is like schooling, working, and then life.
yeah,
So adding something else into that, something as significant as that, is usually challenging. But truth to that is, if you prioritize your time properly, you can do the best you can and still make things happen. But yeah,
exactly.
I definitely appreciate that. So then, talking about the DJ scene in Texas, that is now a lot of interest, and of course, I'm sure you met more DJs that were already in the future. So wait, how many years? How long have you
I would
been a DJ
say
now?
reaching the next 2 or 3 months, it'll be 4 years now, actually.
4 years. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
it's crazy.
Wow. Time flies.
It really does. It feels like just yesterday. Like it feels
So
like
then,
yesterday.
in that 4 years, what experiences do you think has been like your wow moment where you're like, oh wow, I'm proud of my heart? Like, have you had that moment, and
Yeah.
when did that happen for you that you're like, okay, I'm onto something here. I think I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I would say when I started getting booked back to back when I moved to Dallas, like I was
Oh,
getting weddings, some birthdays, clubs. Like in college, what I was doing mostly was house parties. So just
okay.
moving to a different scene where you're DJing in halls, lounges, restaurants, doing big weddings, like it's just a crazy transition. And with that momentum, like I never experienced, I thought I would do that. In fact, I thought I would stop DJing when I got back to Dallas. But there
Really?
were other, yeah, because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to get customers or anything. But just by talking to other DJs, some DJs I already knew, they were able to put me onto the scene. And one of them even
Hmm.
put me onto like some of the clubs in Dallas. And now like I've been DJing at some of the most popular clubs. So it's just been,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's been a wild ride, basically.
So was that a significant shift in your lifestyle? Like, were
Yes, it
you?
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How?
So I would say on the weekends, like a lot of times I just like to chill, like, just,
You do
just,
have a chill person. You do have a
yeah,
chill, like, you just like to chill and just relax and just be out of the way.
yeah. But now, like, I'm outside every weekend, whether it's clubs, weddings, parties. And sometimes my friends will ask me to hang out, but I'll be like, I'm busy, I have a gig. So I would
Damn.
say that, yeah, that's a big transition. But at the same time, I love DJing, but I'll still give myself maybe a weekend out of like
Yeah.
2 months or 3 months just to, relax, maybe take a trip or do something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's one of the things that happen. You start doing something, then it significantly affects your lifestyle, and then, well, I guess if you love it enough, then you would adjust quite easily to it.
Yeah.
So then, have you gotten like trips? Have you gotten to like, well, where have you like flown to DJ, and what is that experience like?
So I don't believe I've been flown out to DJ yet.
Oh,
Very
okay.
soon by God's will. But
Yeah, let's
yeah.
get it. Let's
I
let's,
think
let's make
no,
it happen.
someone was asking me about Jamaica for their wedding, so I'm
Oh,
still anticipating that, but I think hopefully they'll reach out to me soon. So
yeah, but I can imagine, because do you have a team right now around you,
no, it's
or
just a
just a?
one man business. I mean, when
Oh
I go to the
wow.
clubs or something like, I have MC there, promoters there, security, people at the door. Like they're
Yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
friendly with the DJ. But in terms of like private events, I'm the person that will set up by myself, pack up by myself, read the crowd by myself. So it's just a one-man business. And there's
Interesting.
actually, there's a lot that goes into DJing that people don't can't
I
tell.
I can
Like,
imagine.
like they just think you're just there switching music back to back, but it's really
did
multitasking.
did you see
It's
the
multi,
post of that lady that was like, "What do DJs do?" There was
yeah,
a, and I was like, "Well, I'm sure they do a lot of stuff. You just have to talk to one."
yeah,
You give me a vibe of like you have a very, I don't want to say serious work ethic, but you take your work seriously. So is
yeah.
that how you've always been? Was that from your childhood? You know, how is where you? I know you were raised Nigerian in a Nigerian
Of
household,
course, yeah.
so so we know
They're not
that part.
expecting anything less than excellent.
So can you take us a little bit into that to see how your childhood upbringing and everything has made you into who you are now?
Yeah. So growing up, my parents were very strict with books, strict with church, all that. So I feel like that played a huge part in my culture. Like
Mm.
every time I'd bring back home maybe a C or a B or something like that, my parents would just trip somehow. Like, and I feel, I feel like that just got into my spirit of, always striving to do the best. Because I'm doing my master's right now. A lot of people don't know that. So I'm mixing my master's,
Oh
work,
wow.
DJing all in one. And I'm getting through it. I'm supposed to graduate in December. So
Hey, that's
it's
dope.
just,
Nice,
it's
nice,
just,
nice.
it's just been a lot. But like my mindset is that if you want something for your life, you have to get it done somehow, some way. So it's just about pushing every day, like doing the work that's necessary to be where you want to be. Like
Yeah.
some people just think like success is just waking up one day and, just making one decision and you're there. But they don't know it's a bunch of up and downs, roller coasters, everything. So that's my
Yeah.
mindset there. Like if you want something, you have to work smart, but at the same time you
True.
have to put in the work. So
True.
that's the mindset
Damn,
there.
you're in
Yeah.
grad school right now.
Yeah.
Gee. Not just because me, after I was done my bachelor's, I was like, let me make money a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, we'll see, maybe grad school, if my company pays for it, if I work somewhere that they will pay for it. But the fact that you're actually in grad school, which grad school is a different ball game compared to your bachelor. So that's even more
Yeah.
challenging. That's
Yeah.
that's
The good
crazy
thing
to
is
think
that
about.
it's completely online. So I feel like that's been a good
Oh,
shortcut there in terms of having a work-life balance and everything.
because you're more flexible with your schedules and
Yeah.
make that work better.
Yeah.
What are you doing your masters in?
Data science and analytics.
Let's
So
go.
yeah.
So is that okay? Is that like a plan B?
Yeah, because I'm already in Scrum Master, and
Yeah.
that's honestly like I look at the people on my team, they're stressing. So I like I like my position right now, like Scrum
Yeah.
Master, project management, and I think I want to continue in that. But I think it's
Okay.
good to have that master's in the industry, so that you're
Yeah,
more
because
credentialed to the companies
oh,
that you interview for.
absolutely, absolutely. Especially in the technology field, you have to keep educating yourself. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to educate yourself for that better position and that better opportunity, and just to keep up to date with what is going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
because once I started my job, I didn't know anything about what the team was working on. But since I've been
yeah,
going through my classes, man, I've been picking up on some things, knowing what some things are. Obviously, I'm
interesting.
still a bit scratchy on some topics, but it's coming piece by piece to my brain.
Okay,
So,
that's good. That's good. I mean, that's a learning process. You start, you're a novice, it's challenging, frustration sets in, but then you build that resilience by going through stuff and figuring stuff out. And then the beautiful part of learning, which I really enjoy learning, is once you start figuring stuff out and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. It's euphoric. It's beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Damn. Wow. You put this people that are going to hear about you and listen to this because I'm sure especially in this economy and this climate where everybody is trying to do something extra and follow their passions. people are more encouraged, so to speak, to try things. You see medical doctors that are artists on the side, engineer with a DJ on the side. There's different people. I have friends that do music and they're also engineers. But one of the struggles is, oh man, or one of the common excuses is all time and this. But one thing that has been a common denominator across as you guys have spoken to is it doesn't matter. Like you said, if you want something, you get it done. That has been the mindset, and I think if you have that mindset, then you get it done. If you don't, you don't, and that's that.
Exactly, and that's one thing I like about our generation. Obviously, I think we're a lazy generation. We don't want to work anymore. Everyone wants to work from home, like point blank.
But is that a bad thing, though?
No, the good thing there is people in our generation, they're pushing to do something on the side that will later become a business. So, I think it's about people in our generation actually pushing to what they actually want, and older generation, they got a job, but they didn't necessarily like it. They were just making the money. But us now, we're just getting the job and, doing what we like on the side until that grows into something bigger.
Yeah, true, because, the states of things were better before, the economy was better before, significantly better. Things were less expensive compared to how much you made. And, it was significantly easier to reach some strides back then that is just astronomical now. Now, if you make six figures, you're just, you're good, but you can easily be in trouble. One medical bill and then you're done. So it's amazing. So another thing I know that from following you is that you've traveled to different places in the world, and I haven't traveled much. It's one of my goals to travel. I think it's everybody's goals. That's one of the first things people say if you have money, what would you do? Travel. But you've actually traveled, and I really admire that. So what I'm curious to know what you've been to Nigeria, right?
Yeah, of course
not. Actually, let's get into that a bit. So you were born here?
No, I was born in the UK, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're born in the UK, okay.
Shortly after, I moved to Dallas, and that's where my brother was born, and we just kept on growing here since then.
So when was the first time you visited Nigeria?
I would say when I was young, when I didn't even have much memory. But I've been going every few years. Like, I just went last year, and before that, I think 4 years before that. So.
Oh yeah, you played in Nigeria, right?
Yeah, actually, it wasn't really my gig. It was my uncle's birthday.
Yeah.
And I just decided, let me talk to the DJ. Let me, play for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. So then, well, I guess another way to put the question is, when you can recall, what was your first memory of visiting Nigeria that you actually experienced it? And what was that like for you compared to staying in the States? And
so I would say my most memory that went back was when I was 3-4. I actually went to school in Nigeria for a little bit at the Bells. I don't know if you know the Bells in Ogun State.
Bell, I've heard of it. It's familiar.
Yeah. So I went there for a little bit. That was when I was 3 or 4. And I have flashbacks, but I'm not sure about, big memories that really shaped me like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So have you been looking at, well, now that you're grown and you're DJing now, because music scene in Nigeria is crazy too. Have you been looking at spots? Have you seen some spots that you're like, oh man, if I go to Nigeria, I would like to play here? Actually, Lagos.
I can tell the nightlife in Lagos is crazy. Like, I know they have Cubana, they have Q-Locks, all these big clubs. Like,
there's even Obese Place in Lekki. Yeah. One of my friends, David, on a Monday evening, this place is looking like a Friday night. And I'm
Man,
like, bro, what
people
is
in
going on?
people in Nigeria love to party, man. Like,
Yo,
it's crazy.
yeah,
And it's not even like a regular club. They'll be partying till the sun comes up, which is
it's
crazy.
like outside is like green, like turf or grass or something, and then there's palm trees and there's just drinks. Everybody's just vibing, chilling, and just DJs coming, and yeah, it's big. And I don't. I'm looking forward to visiting Nigeria, and it will be, and I really. I'm hoping you feel the same way. That it'll be really dope if you
even
can find some opportunities to play there.
When I went last year, I had the time of my life. Like,
I
feel like in Nigeria, if you have money, I feel like it's a good time. It's a good time.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Oh, definitely. And that's one of the unfortunate things where, we know if you have money, your life is generally. But in Nigeria, if you have money, you live a very, very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what did you do the last time you went? Like what places did you visit?
So the last time I went, it was actually a very short trip. Like, I didn't even stay for up to a week. But I was just going to different parties, going to restaurants and lounges in Lagos, specifically on the island.
Yeah.
So one thing my cousin told me, though, is that life on the island is a separate reality from life in the rest of Nigeria. So
I can. Even in like mainland of Lagos, like the life is very significantly, at least from what I see, it's very significantly different. But one of the things that I really appreciate is even in that, life. Especially, I really appreciate that even in Nigeria now, there's a huge appreciation for the culture. Because I remember there was a time where even like music videos, a lot of artists would go to their videos in like the UK, in South Africa, because it looked like you abroad. And not a lot of people were doing stuff like their videos in Nigeria just because of the view. They didn't, it looked, I don't know, maybe it looked ugly. But now, from the artists to the people, there's like an embrace of the culture and traditions. Like the last Oju Deoba, oh man, there was this videographer that captured. It was beautiful.
That video
was
viral.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was very
there
beautiful.
Was all kind of colors. I mean, it's always been like that, but seeing it being captured in that way, oh man, I was like, nah, this is good. Yeah. So, like I mentioned to you, there's something that I wanted to start doing where I know there's a beautiful thing about talking about culture. There's a beautiful thing about names in Nigeria, right? Our names are very, very peculiar, very particular. It's not usually random. Usually your parents usually have a reason why they give you that name.
Yeah.
Especially with the traditional names, not the English names and all other Bible names. And, depending on the culture, whether you're Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or, wherever you're from, the names are either, like a sentence or like a prayer or like an affirmation or, some social recognition like royalty and all that. So, can you tell, can we go into your name and what it means? And
Oluwa Bamidele, and that basically translates to God follow me home. So very simple, but it's a powerful prayer. Like, anyone can pray, God follow me home. And I feel like that's the beauty behind a bunch of, African names. And, growing up, like, I was kind of ashamed at school and, just at random places. And that's just because people would make fun of, African people's names. Like, there was one time where it was the first day of class and it was roll call. The teacher called my name and then, I heard people laughing, like, what type of name is that? Yeah. So it's just been that growing up where people would just make, nicknames for your name or just pronounce it, in the wrong way.
Yeah, they just butcher the name.
Yeah. But you know, growing up like and starting to understand your name, starting to understand the culture, how it means something, it's meaningful, and it's a prayer. You know, you become more appreciative of your name, more appreciative of the culture. So now, like, if anyone is saying my name incorrectly, like, I get so upset.
You let them know, like,
Yeah.
yo, say it right. I mean, because there's some crazy sounding, you know, American name, European name, and I'm like, yo, if you can pronounce that name that only has one vowel but 15 characters, why can't you pronounce Olua something, you know, or you know, Ola something like that? That's crazy. And and honestly, your experience, I've heard it before, you know, for people that grew up in the States, you know, having that cultural conflict. I don't want to call it racism because kids will clown anything for any reason.
Yeah.
You know, so but having that cultural conflict of, oh man, my peers are clowning me for my name, that is really personal. Because me, I got clowned for having a big head when I was small, when I was younger, and a big ass when I was younger. So they used to call me 24 head, you know, pampas. But that to me was like, all right, yeah, I have a big head, I have a big ass, you know, but it wasn't my name, you know. So I can't even imagine how that must have felt. But God followed me home. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, and even my last name, Otinuga, like, people are planning that as well, but literally Ijebu, it means the head of the palace. And you know, a lot of people don't have a last name that sounds like that.
Yeah.
And you know, like, I listen to a bunch of other Africans, like, they say, "Oh, I wish my name was Sam, David, or you know, some American name," but they don't know like all these African names that, you know, Nigerian parents are giving their children. Like, it's meaning behind something.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that has more power than, you know, people think.
Yeah, it's really the the last name, the family name, you know. Like, there's some names, just like we know some names like the Rothschild family, right? You know, if you see someone's last name and it's Rothschild, you're giving that person a second look like, well, who are you? You know, but there are some families in Nigeria too that are like that. Like, you hear the last name, you're like, wait, we're related. Like, this name only comes from this part of the country, in this town, in this village. We are related, and it could either be some royalty, or like mine is Afolabi, you know, Afiolabi. That's a sentence, and you know, was born with wealth. And come to find out that some grandparent or something like that was supposed to be part of the royalty, and then he gave his life to Christ. I was like, why you gonna do that? But you know, it was part of. But you know, there's just so many interesting things that comes with the name, and I really appreciate the name. And I hope people, you know, whatever they have gone through growing up, or you know, child, or whatever they think, oh, I'm ashamed of my name, whatever, shorten the name.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can shorten the name if it's, you know, Ogochuku, you can put it into Chuku, you know, or Ugo. You know, you can shorten the name, but don't get rid of the name. Like, I would really encourage people that if you think the name is too long and it's, you know, people can't pronounce the name, shorten it, make it more, you know, something people can pronounce easily, but don't lose it at all. Like, people should feel proud of their names because there's deeper meanings to it. And I think if people went to research their names, like, where is it from, what it meant, why the name was given, because even my elder sister, I think my dad, I remember him saying the story that he gave her the name because he was really praying for something, so he wanted her to be like the representation of that thing coming to him, you know. So like that's a very deep stuff, and you know, the culture is deep too, like that. Like, I sometimes when I see, like, in Brazil that they do some of the Yoruba, you know, they do some of the Yoruba things, I'm like, damn, I know I'm Christian, but to me, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to start serving this God, but I want to learn about that part of history, because that's some history there's some historical relevance that I just want to know and learn about, and at least have
Yeah.
some knowledge of it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. And well, I'm glad you've grown out of that sentiment and you have a deeper appreciation for who you are, because Nigeria for life, man. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we can take a break now.
Okay.
We just take a break, and we'll be back on the Nigeria conversation. And we are back on the Nigeria conversation, and I'm still here with DJ Dele.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, from Dallas. So do you have any plans to leave Dallas anytime soon to other places? Or you're going to be based in Dallas, then go back and forth? What are you thinking?
I think I like Dallas. Like, I want to be somewhere that, a lot of people like me are. And I feel like Dallas is that place. And I made a lot of, meaningful connections here. And I think it's still growing, especially currently. And one of my goals is actually to make a very big African Black club that, that'll be nice for, Black people, African people, Caribbean people to just come to throughout the week. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So how is that starting up? Is there like a lot of Nigerians there in Wisconsin or?
So there's a good amount, and that's the thing in Wisconsin here, right? There's a good, particularly in Milwaukee. So there's a good amount of Nigerians here in Milwaukee, right? And there's some also, and other Africans too, different people from different countries. There's some in Madison, which is the capital, and then just different cities around. And then Chicago is just like an hour away.
Oh, okay.
So people also come up from Chicago, and then so there's a good amount of people. But what is different here is you have Mexicans that rock with Afrobeats. You have white people that rock with Afrobeats. You have Black people, like African Americans, that rock with Afrobeats. So we have a good mix when we have events. Is everybody there? Yeah. So
and I think that comes into other people loving Afrobeats as well.
Yep.
Because like DJing at some of the clubs here, like that are themed especially for Afrobeats, I've been seeing a mix of different diversities just coming up to have a good time, and be having fun to the music that we're playing as well.
Oh yeah, they be going crazy with all the steps. They be attempting leg walk and But I mean, you can't laugh at anybody. It's all in good fun and good, energy. As long as you're feeling the music and you're just throwing it down as best as you can, we're just having a good time. So that's one of the particular thing here is there's a mix of people. You definitely don't have the African presence that Texas or Dallas has, not even close, but the mix, and then that also keeps us trying to innovate. Okay, how can we make our event approachable to everyone? We were still gonna stay true to it's Afrocentric, but then how do we want to introduce the African culture to a white person versus a Black person versus a Mexican? So we want to make sure that if it's food, it's to the taste level. We won't give them Yoruba level kind of, spice type of thing, right? So we want to make sure that we are trying to, get everybody at their level and just introduce them slowly. And it's been great so far. Like the events we do now, it's packed all the time. Wow. Even the last time, and here where there's winter, in the winters it's still packed. So it's people enjoy it that well. So it's good, and it's been a great experience attending and just going to the event because I've been going there for a while. But being sort of a part of them now, I have a fresh perspective now. It's almost personal to be like, okay, we have a goal and we have this goal that we want to achieve. Then how do we get there? How do we set all the puzzle pieces together to make sure that we are bringing out something good, So and we have Lake Michigan is just right here. So stuff, and even Summerfest, you might have heard of Summerfest, is in Milwaukee here too. So there's a lot of opportunities where we can sort of slowly get into bigger and bigger presence and bigger events, and then till we can do the festival. So yeah, and definitely once we have because we do have DJs coming from different places in the country actually.
Wow.
And yeah, so definitely I'd be like, all right, add DJ Dele to this list.
Hey man,
Watch this my guy. And like let's bring him in and let's have a good time. So
yeah.
And oh sorry, go on.
I like seeing that, the population of Africans are growing in places you wouldn't think Africans are. Like,
oh yeah.
I think this past weekend they had Afro Nation in Detroit, out of all places.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
You think like, the concentration of Africans is in like Atlanta, New York, Texas, but really, I feel like at this point we're everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because apart from there's this thing I always said that I've heard, and I'm sure it's true. There's a Nigerian everywhere, and then there's also like Gambians, Cameroonians, everybody. There's an African everywhere. You just have to look and be like, hey, and it's almost telepathic because sometimes I see it and I just look at you, the way your face is, the way your noses, and I'm just like, that's an African. Like, no, that's an African. And usually when I go for the shake and then it's an automatic snap, I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's always beautiful to see, and I didn't go to the Afro Nation because I had some things going on, but some of my friends definitely went there, and it's from the posts I've seen and from the videos I've seen, it's they were having a good time enjoying themselves there. So it was great.
Yeah, I mean, so at the same time, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go on.
Yeah, at the same time, how we, like seeing Africans, Nigerians everywhere. I feel like it's unfortunate that we have the mentality that we need to jump out from our original place. Like,
oh yeah,
I just wish like like the living standards of where we're from would be good enough for us to want to stay there.
Yeah, that's the ultimate, that's the ideal situation, isn't it? It's like, there's something about, I feel jealous when I hear an American talk about America, and I'm like, man, because an American goes everywhere in the world, and it's like, I'm an American, don't mess, I'm there's this pride of being an American, because even though there's obvious flaws that you can mention, but there's still a national pride of like, yeah, I'm proud to be American. Honestly, if not for music and Nollywood, there's not a lot of things that you can be like, oh, I'm proud to, and the cultural aspects. There's not a lot of things that I can look at and be like, oh yeah, I'm proud to be Nigerian. And it's just unfortunate because you look at the life, you look at the leadership, you look at just the people at this point, because you can complain about the leaders that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, but look at opportunities where, okay, someone came in and did do something, but then the people are just not in the right state of mind to even understand what a good thing is. Like I saw a video of, I think, one of the train tracks in the north. They had removed every other hook on the track, so they didn't want to remove all the hooks so they don't derail the trains, but they just sort of removed every other one, so it's still safe, but they still ripped off the thing. So I'm like, that's crazy. And that wasn't a government official that did that. That was some people that did that. Even like electrical stuff too. People taking wires out. Bad roads. So it's a bad state of things, and talking about it sometimes just gets me into a bad mood, and I'm like, man, because I solve problems for a living, right? People come to me for problems with, product problems. I'm an electrical engineer, and then I try to figure stuff out. Okay, how do we figure this stuff out? How do we solve this problem? How do we get products? Do some research that meet that specification. But then when I try to put Nigeria in the same point of, okay, how would you even begin to solve this problem called Nigeria? It's like, it's multiple things going on at the same time. Okay, you want to actually, let me do a little bit. So I came here to study electrical engineering, and I emphasize in power systems.
Yeah.
Because I was curious about why isn't there good power in Nigeria? Like, it was that personal to me that I was like, okay, I want to learn about power systems, and why don't we have power in Nigeria? Because I just didn't know why. I would just say, oh, transformer has blown and it's going to take 3 months, so there's no light for 3 months. Like,
that's insane.
Is there nothing else you can do? There's wires. I see wires, and sometimes it's like this phase changing, you change the phase and then now you have light suddenly. It's like, what's going on? So I did an internship at Alliant Energy in Madison, and I understood how the American electrical grid works. And the moment I understood how the American grid worked, which is even old and a cake, I actually just thought, nah, Nigeria will never have constant electricity.
Wow. Do you know the main reason behind that, or?
Well, because
is it just complex?
It is complex. So because like the American grid is like the biggest machine in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a machine. It's a whole system that has to keep working. Like if there's a storm in Florida or somewhere, some other part of the country has to take over the supply of that part. So it's all interconnected. Yeah, they have different agencies and different corporations and different companies that work to make the whole grid function. There's people generating power, there's people in charge of the transmission, there's some people in charge of the distribution, some people are the same people. So there's all these different companies making sure everything works, but everything has to work. They are all in constant communication, and there's a body overseeing the whole thing, right? So I was like, oh, this level of synchronous, it's so synchronized that, and it's automatic. It's not like someone has to go flip a switch if there's a disaster somewhere and then there's no power. No, it's automatic. It's programmed and designed to automatically just take over the load. And yes, the companies have to interact, and there's this, of course, the commercial parts that happen underneath all that, but the technology and the system, the physical system, yeah, that's how it works. And even if you've noticed, like every pole or every other pole, you see like a transformer on that pole. There's like a cylindrical box of, and that is what helps, the quality. And you will see that on every other pole. And those things are not cheap. But they're just hanging up there, right? And then you see the cables, the wires, some, on the ground, very high capacity. But I remember back home in Nigeria, the whole neighborhood, which could be like 5 blocks, is using one transformer. One big transformer. But here you have the substation, and then you have transformer in almost every house.
Wow.
But in Nigeria, the equivalent is like a substation and just feeds directly to different people. A distribution, it just goes. So if that transformer has a problem, everybody's out. So I was like, oh man, because how do you begin to solve that kind of problem? You have to start from infrastructure.
From scratch.
You start building, start designing, right? But then you have to take care of security, because if you buy $1 billion worth of transformers and the next morning it's all gone, well,
If people are taking out train tracks, they'll be taking out transformers.
For sure. And if it's all gone the next day, so you have to worry about infrastructure, security. Now you're talking about road, because how do you access where you need to go? It's like multiple things, and it's like, but you're trying to solve electric problem, right? But you have to solve security for electricity to work.
Yeah.
And then, how do you stop people from stealing? Generally, if people can provide for themselves, they don't have any reason to steal, right? So then you have to also think about, okay, the welfare of the people. How do you provide enough for people that they don't feel the need to go steal? And then, of course, people will still want to steal, but then how do you make sure that there's enough repercussions for stealing? Because here, if I call 911, I can just threaten someone with, I'll call 911, and then they run. But in Nigeria, so there's like multiple layers, and it's like, oh man, how do you start?
Yeah.
So when I understood, I was like, yeah, I don't think it will ever happen. But what I think will happen is individuals at different sections of the country, and that is what I think is going on now. They will just start solving their own problems in different segments, and maybe that would become widespread enough that it will get to most places. My friend that I spoke to that lives in Abuja, he said one of the ways that they're solving the electrical problem is there's this company that sort of sells power on demand. So they've
wow.
I didn't look into it, but they've somehow integrated into the grid where they've supplied technology and infrastructure that people can choose when they want to have power, and they're sort of in control of how much it will cost them. So stuff like that, and so that's why it's like, yeah, it's sad, but yeah, I see. We just went into that for how many minutes?
Problems behind problems.
Oh man, it's the Nigerian thing is. Yeah. But all in all, I believe that if people, I believe Nigerians love good things, but then Two-Face said it well that nobody wants to die, but we want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Right. We all want to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. So it's like, okay, what needs to happen for change to occur? There are some things that need to happen, but nobody's willing to do those things. So, we want change to occur to happen, but nobody's willing to do what needs to happen, and one person can't. So what individuals do is I'll just leave and go figure myself out, figure my family out. Then I can go back and do whatever I want to do if I choose to. And that is what, the jackpot thing is where people choose to do that. And I'm sure it will stop at some point. Not jackpot, but like it will reduce where people wouldn't need to. Because now, IT in Nigeria is crazy.
Really?
Oh my God. Because, this thing of there's people working remote. People work remote from Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, like, picture earning what you earn, but you're living in Nigeria.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, IT, a lot of people are not even trying to leave, but then it's like you can't really isolate yourself from you can have a good house, good life, good car, but once you drive out of your streets, you're in Nigeria. So
exactly.
So, but IT is good, music is good, movie industry, entertainment industry, and IT specifically are sort of like in my opinion, the big pillars that are holding Nigeria, and hopefully it will, sort of cascade into other industries where maybe agriculture will come back and, maybe more commerce. Commerce definitely, because like Alaba International Market, Aba, those places are always, commercial hubs in the whole continent, in fact. But I'm hoping it to cascade slowly, and things will get better. I mean, we can only hope so, right?
Yeah. And I mean, Nigeria, Africa as a whole, like, we're good on doing everything by ourselves. Like, we have the resources, we have the talent, we have everything. So I feel like, importation of stuff from other country, like, it's just laziness on our part when we can do it.
Talking about importation. So there's this fish, panla.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was made in Norway.
That's crazy.
So a friend of mine, he just sent me the video, and I was like, so I just saw the video, it was Norway, it was ice everywhere, people were catching fish and drawing it out. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I was like, wait, this is panla? And they were like, yeah. I was like, I thought panla was made in Nigeria, but, if we import most of what we eat, which I think is all over the world, but it's importing stuff like rice, beans, or things that can be grown in the country. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not sustainable at all.
It's going to be way more expensive for the people living in the country.
Of course. I have to make my money if I'm importing all that stuff. So I'm hiking the price. There's no roads, so I'm paying extra for transportation. Price goes up.
Yeah.
Fuel, gas price goes up, prices go up. So it's like it's very bad, to be honest. But so now I want to ask you. You're Nigerian and you have a love for Afrobeats. So then, what do you think sets you apart from other DJs that you can consider your peers or people that you're meeting in the scene? What do you think sets you apart from the crowd as a DJ?
I would say the way I read the crowd. I like to, see the people that are coming in. And when I DJ, some DJs don't care about their setup, but I feel like the setup is very important because you're able to see the people that you're servicing, the people that you're playing music to. And, with that, you're able to feel the vibe and, play the music that you feel like would make the vibe more enhanced or more correct in that situation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Because if you pay more attention to the people, then you can gauge the energy and what you can sort of calibrate that way. Because I'm usually in the crowd, right? Once a DJ plays something and everybody just stops sort of moving at the same time. And then I just start staring at the DJ like, can't you see that nobody is, enjoying this? But
yeah, and even as a DJ, you'll notice like, even if they say Afrobeats, some people like legwork music more better than, all this kid vibe and everything.
True.
It's very important to keep that.
That's true. So do you like that attention that comes with being a DJ? Is that because I don't know if that's your lifestyle, but definitely there's gonna be new attention that comes with being a DJ. Do you like it, and how are you handling it, or do you plan to handle that, or are you just rolling with it?
So I feel like I'm just rolling with it. I would say like the most important thing through that is like, meeting meaningful people. Like I've met so many, ever since I moved to Dallas, I've met so many people just by DJing. And I feel like through that, like, I've enhanced my lifestyle just by having, very important people around me that, that do other things outside of DJing. Like, what is it? One of my clients was a real estate or a realtor. And I feel like once I'm ready to buy a house, like, he's going to be the person I reach out to. So, exactly.
That's smart. That's right. Because, along the way, you need to meet people and connect with people. Because one thing I've learned, since I started working and everything, in Nigeria, they call it long leg, where let's say you have leg into something, but it's like, it's networking, it's connections. It's like,
exactly.
You meet somebody, you have a great conversation, you exchange contacts, and you don't even need to follow up or become their best friends, but that first impression, first impressions matter a lot. Like that first impression that you've left on them, they'll remember it and like, oh yeah, that was a good set and everything that happened. That's good. That's great. So then project 10 years, 15 years. Do you see yourself being DJ full time or tech guy or still doing both? What do you think?
For me, my plan is to own multiple businesses. So I feel like DJing will still be a thing, but at the same time, my plan, like I said earlier, is to have, a very big club for Black people, Nigerians, Africans, Caribbean people. And, I'll DJ there every once in a while, DJ weddings and whatever. But the main goal is to make more money. That's personally, I want a lifestyle where like money is just flowing in consistently.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Yeah, with that, having multiple streams of businesses is important. Like if you see Jeff Bezos, if you see Elon Musk, they don't just have one business. They have multiple businesses that they're operating, and that's what sets them apart from all these businesses that are focused on only one thing.
True. Because
Yeah,
multiple streams definitely. That's really that's dope. That's a very realistic plan.
yeah,
And the reason I say that is because it's sort of cliche to be like, oh yeah, I see myself being the biggest DJ in the world and all that, and touring Afro, playing Afro
yeah,
Nation, Coachella, and you're like, nah, 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 nah,
yeah,
nah, money,
yeah.
business. Let's do
So
this.
the thing about it there, like obviously yes, I want to DJ festivals and whatnot.
Yeah,
But once you're done with that, or like you're gone from the scene, like that's the end of the business right there.
true.
But if you have something else, that's when you can pass the business to someone you trust, maybe your child or
Yeah,
something like that, and the business will just keep going.
yeah, and you want sustainability because was it when I found out that what's his name, this British actor. Idris Elba also DJs, like actual DJs. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
And I first thought it was just maybe one of this hobby thing that is, you have enough money, like, what hobby? Let me go become a pilot now,
yeah,
and it's like, oh no, it actually DJs. I'm like, oh damn, that's crazy. So you do want some sustainability of, something solid that, yeah, you can still DJ, but you want that solid foundation, solid income, solid business. That's
yeah,
dope, man. That's dope.
yeah. And also, the thing about a lot of DJs, they just do it for the extra cash. But with me,
Really?
like with the culture and everything, the love I have for the culture, seeing Black people enjoy themselves. Like when I go to DJ events, my plan is how will I make these people enjoy the event compared
Hmm.
as to the money that I'm making from the event.
Yeah, that's amazing because it's like there's a quote I heard one time that I think it was Elon that said it, that if somebody's making a product and you focus on, oh, how can I make money out of this product, you probably end up with a shitty product. But if you focus
Yeah,
on, okay, how is this product going to help people's life? How are they going to enjoy this thing that I'm bringing? Then people will give you money to
exactly.
enjoy that. So to your point, if you focus on how can I make this experience amazing for them, unforgettable, then people will always come back. People will refer you. People want you to come and bring that experience to them. And what comes with all that? Definitely, you get the bag.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so man, DJ Dele, what do you have going on right now? What are you up to? I want you to
Man,
plug something. What is the big thing that you're trying to be like? Okay, you know what? Before the year runs out, I need to be in this space. Let's what do they call it? Listen, ladies usually say, let's manifest it. So yeah,
well,
what are you up to, man?
manifestation to make more money. I feel like one of my big goals right now is to, be able to buy a house in the near future.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, that's one of the main goals. Obviously finish up my master's
Oh yeah,
and,
that
just have
definitely.
that credential. Yeah. But
That's
other
dope,
than
man.
that, I've just been working, my regular job. Uh, yeah. So I'm just trying to be valuable to the community where I can be.
Yeah.
And, one of my goals long term is to see, Africans be more free everywhere. Because at the same time, like, for example, you see police brutality here in the US. But at the same time,
Yep.
you go back to Africa, there's still police brutality. So
Yeah. In fact,
in this
it's
lifetime, I want to see, like, Africans be more free, more liberated.
that's an amazing cause, though. That's
Yeah,
something that would be great because, even when the whole protest and everything started here, and I was like, we've been so desensitized to being beaten up by police and the military back home that it's just normal.
yeah,
You know, I've always known you don't talk back to a soldier or police or they can just slap the hell out of you, and that's that. You go about your day with a slap on your face and nothing's going to happen. So some of those things that we've been desensitized to, that would be really great. And I do wish and I pray, well, not just pray, I hope I'm able to be in a position where I can actually do something about it, where I
definitely.
can influence that happening. Because it's not just prayer, because we pray too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, everything is prayer. Even there's a time where the Minister of Power was like, "Oh, let's pray to have power." I'm like, what? You know, it's like no. So I'm hoping I can be, you know, and usually what you need is resources to be able to make those kind of impacts.
Yeah.
Resources.
Like you said earlier, it comes down to the individual, and I feel like many people right now, you know, they're seeing things as they are, and you know, some people are standing up, some people are still scared, but you know, I feel like the more as time goes, you know, more people will be able to see what's going on truly.
Oh yeah, like someone like Faz, the bad guy, because he was able to, you know, he could afford to stand up and say things and talk back to challenge the status quo, and you know, he could, but not everyone can do that. You know, some people are looking at, oh man, I don't want to say it. I mean, we are experiencing it here too. The people are like, oh, you know what, I don't want this to affect my career, my job, where I'm feeding my family, so I'm just gonna shut up and go about my day. But you know, usually it's like, okay, if either you have nothing to lose or you just have enough that you cannot lose, then you can stand up to stuff. So I'm hoping I can get to that point to where I'm able to influence as best as I can, to be able to influence things to make things better, and that would be great. And I'm hoping the same for you, bro. Like I would absolutely be grateful for a future where I can see you making such a massive, big impact that is really moving things forward for the country and for just, you know, Africans, Black people. That would be a great sight to see, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you sound very passionate about it, and I appreciate that. That's great.
Yeah.
Although you want to make money, but it's not coming from a selfish point. Yeah, that's great, man.
I mean,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, to take trips to enjoy life, man, you need to make money.
Fact.
Okay, you need to enjoy life.
Yeah, man. Yo, it's been amazing talking to you, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I wish I was having a leisure trip to Houston so I could stop by Dallas, but I probably won't be able to. So, but I mean, I'll visit Dallas soon. I should plan to come to Dallas this summer, to be honest.
Yeah, Dallas has been very active this summer, like with the clubs, just random events.
Like, I should have Dallas to my plans this summer. I should have that to my plan this summer. Hopefully, I'll see you, come to your event, have a good time. But
of course,
it's been great talking to you on the Niger Conversation, DJ Dele. Appreciate you for your time, for your great words and insight, and I pray that, you know, everything that you're trying to do comes to fruition, meet those goals, because you have a great vision, and I want to see it with my eyes, man.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Niger Conversation. This episode was featuring DJ Dele from Dallas, Texas, aka Bamidele. Actually, his full name is Bamidele, aka DJ Dele. Now, as always, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, where else? And everywhere you get your audio podcast. Thank you very much. And that's the Niger Conversation.